Hello, good evening and welcome. This is Left, Right and Centre on NDTV, 9 p.m. by the clock. I am Ankit Tyagi. After a wait of more than 2 years, 850 days to be precise, behind the bars, Siddique Kappan, the Kerala-based journalist, was finally released on bail. His bail order was announced about 40 days earlier. Procedural delay cost this man and his family a wait of over a month before they could meet, before he could come out of the Lucknow prison. Was this another attempt to make the process the punishment in his case, which is sadly not uncommon in our country, which has prisons full of under trials waiting for years before being heard? Upon his release from the prison on Thursday morning, a smiling and emotional Siddique Kappan spoke to my colleague Vedant. First, listen in.
So it's been very tough 2 years, I'm sure. What are the thoughts running in your head right now?
Feeling good.
Right.
Thank you. But justice delayed.
Right.
This is justice denied.
Right.
This is a half-baked justice.
This is the half-baked justice.
Half-baked justice.
Right. Right. So these 2 years have been really tough, I'm sure. You were charged with sedition, then of course UAPA, then money laundering charges also. What was your crime really? What do you think?
I don't know. Crime is a journalism.
Right.
Journalism is not a crime. My photo, my display picture भी ऐसा था. मतलब journalism is not a crime.
आपका display picture also said journalism is not a crime.
Not a crime.
Right. तो आपको लगता है कि एक larger problem अभी, I mean of course intellectual activists, journalists, they're all put behind bars for criticizing the government and for reporting on things that are important. So what is the larger message do you think of you walking out of jail and of course you being put behind bars? Larger message क्या है?
Larger message is a journalism. Journalism is a activism. This is not a crime.
तो आप बताइए कि क्यों आपको बाद में ईडी ने कहा कि आप पीएफआई से पैसे ले रहे हैं, आपको पीएफआई का मेंबर भी बताया गया, इन सब चार्जेस के बारे में आप क्या सोचते हैं?
They said I am a Popular Fund founding member.
Right.
This is false narration.
Okay. So now that you are out on bail, in fact your bail was also not easy after you were given bail. Your lawyers had to really sort of work hard to secure that release order. These procedural lapses, ये भी एक बड़ी problem पे point करता है. आप 1 महीना हो गया था आपको bail मिले, उसके बाद भी आप जेल में थे. क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
Verification processing is delay कर दिया ये लोग. I don't know what is the problem. कौन सी चाहिए मैं जेल में इतना साल में जेल में रहना, किसका इंटरेस्ट है मुझे नहीं मालूम. मैं क्यों बाहर आएगा तो क्या दिक्कत है वो भी नहीं मालूम मुझे.
तो आप अब आगे आपका गोइंग फॉरवर्ड कैसे आप you'll continue to stand for the truth, you'll continue to report?
I will continue my fight against draconian laws,
Right.
UAPA, AFSPA, like this.
Right. And you're happy, I'm sure, to meet your family. We saw that absolutely emotional moment. Nice.
Now, the detention of journalists for such extended periods is possible only because of draconian laws like UAPA, National Security Act, Sedition and the Public Safety Act. And over the years, journalists have been charged under these draconian laws. Once charged under these laws, it becomes very, very difficult to avail bail while the trial is going on, which usually stretches for long period for many years. Now let's just take you back in time a bit on Kappan's case. He was granted bail by the Supreme Court of India on September 9, 2022, stating that every citizen has a right to free expression. However, he remained in the jail in another case. So let me, in fact, just take you through the timeline of the Kappan case. October 2020, Siddique Kappan arrested by the Uttar Pradesh police while on the way to Hathras to cover the horrific gang rape and murder of a girl, which became national news. Kappan wanted to report on the gang rape and the murder of the 19-year-old scheduled caste woman. Kappan was charged with sedition and anti-terror law. February 2021, Enforcement Directorate then jumps in, files a case of money laundering against the journalist. The ED accuses Kappan of terror funding. September 2022, the Supreme Court grants bail to Siddique Kappan in the terror case. Now, Kappan's legal team struggles to find Uttar Pradesh-based sureties to, in fact, get him out of the jail. December 2022, Allahabad High Court grants bail in money laundering case as well. But still, Kappan is kept in the jail for over a month due to bureaucratic delays. January 23, Siddique Kappan walks out of the jail of Lucknow after 2 years. The question that we are asking this evening, ladies and gentlemen, are laws such as the UAPA being used to criminalize journalists, students, basically any anti-voice, any anti-government voice, but also to create an atmosphere of fear among the journalists. All right, let me in fact introduce our guest. Vikram Singh, former DGP of the Uttar Pradesh, is going to join us in just a short while from now. Ranbir Singh Pathania, advocate, spokesperson of the BJP, with us this evening. Geeta Bhatt, political analyst who supports the Bharatiya Janata Party, also with us this evening. Sanjay Hegde, senior advocate, will be joining us in just a short while from now. Sharat Pradhan is a senior journalist based in Uttar Pradesh. He will also be with us in just a short while from now. But very quickly, I welcome both my guests at this moment. Mr. Pathania, I want to start by asking you, the Supreme Court, when it had given bail to Siddique Kappan, it said that raising or reporting is not a crime. If he was speaking in favor of that woman, will that expression of freedom will also be seen as a crime against the state? Those were very scathing words as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, and that was a bench led by the former Chief Justice of India, Mr. U. Lalit.
Ankit, just to correct you, with regard to freedom of speech and expression, the Honorable Supreme Court said only with regard to the posters found in the car which was seized at the toll post, Mathura toll post, and he was brought behind the bars. So, let's come to the crux of the case. Mr. Kappan has not been acquitted as on date. The charges against him stand as it is. Though, in a bail order, specifically as a matter of precedent and as a matter of practice also, no court casts any observation onto the merits of the case. He has not been arrested for covering a rape case, very clear and very specific. What is the case against him? The case against him lies that, first of all, under PMLA, he was accused of, I'll not say that he's guilty of, he was accused of collecting 1.36 crores of money, bringing them to India through a series of fraudulent transactions, and then try to create riots in the name of CAA and Babri demolition. This was the charge which was pending against him. And the another charge, that he had certain people who were members of PFI with whom he was not meant to be. There is an Allahabad High Court order on it. He was not meant to be accompanied or accomplished with those people and on way to Hathras. That's the only objectionable point.
Mr. Pathania, while you say that these are charges, you are very right. He's been accused of these charges. Yes. It's been 2 years, sir.
That's it.
Sir, it's been 2 years. The government and the agencies are yet to prove anything. And for all those 2 years, a journalist has been put behind bars. And that's why the question that is being raised is it just an attempt to create fear? Was this just an attempt to divert the attention that the Uttar Pradesh government was getting, in fact, publicity, the bad publicity that the Uttar Pradesh government was getting at that point of time?
Ankit, very clear, and with due respect, first of all, we have all respect for the Honorable Supreme Court's order and the directives time to time issued by the various courts of this country.
Okay.
And let us separate two things. He was not arrested for reporting the Hathras case or trying to make a fair reporting of the Hathras case.
Sir, he could not even reach and report the Hathras case, sir. He was on his way when he was picked up. I mean, it was preemptive. It was preemptive that the government thought that he's going to report and create problems.
Not. This is just reading between the lines, and with due respect, your program is left, right, and center. Let's come to the center. Let's not either here and there or left and right, sir.
No, sir. That is why this is left, right, and center, because we try and move in every direction to get every voice as far as this program is concerned. But I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Sanjay Hegde. I want to understand from you, sir. Despite securing this bail, it took 40 days for the procedural delays and process to in fact come through. Many are calling this punishment in the process itself. Is that what this case suggests, sir?
Of course it suggests that. But to Mr. Pathania's point of reading between the lines, you must also remember that when another journalist got arrested in Maharashtra, the next day the Supreme Court let him off. And he was a famous anchor, right? So, yes, there are rules and there are laws. But as somebody correctly said, the essence of tyranny is the ability to make harsh laws and to use them selectively. You cannot simply put a journalist under UAPA. And why was this journalist arrested? He was arrested because he was sharing a cab with 4 other people from Kerala. Some of them happened to be members of the PFI. Once the journalists raised their voice, the Kerala Union of Working Journalists raised their voice, then the administration of the day decided to double down. They threw the book, the baby, the bathwater, and everything upon him. And consequently, they have dragged out the process. Also, it sent a message to other journalists at that point of time who were covering Hathras. That look, we've picked up one and see what he is going through. This is what is called a chilling effect on the freedom of speech. Now, of course, at the end of 2 years or whatever that the man finally walks out, it is poor consolation to him.
Yes.
Nobody is going to give him those 2 years, and I can bet you that at the end of whatever a decade, 2 decades later of the trial, I don't think there will be a conviction.
Okay. Mr. Vikram Singh, you've been former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, very senior police officer. This allegation that cases then, of course, are prepared, stringent laws like UAPA are freely used by the state specifically to try and stifle the voices, those who are critical as far as the state is concerned. And specifically talking about journalists, I can give you ample examples. Take the case of photojournalist Manandar. It took him more than a year to secure the bail, that too in a matter where there was hardly any evidence. In fact, while granting him the bail, the NIA court said that there is no sufficient evidence to prove that he was part of any conspiracy. And I can give you many such examples. Siddique Kappan is staring in our face. Why is it that the police and the investigating agencies, when they are investigating the case, they are so freely using UAPA and such stringent measures against journalists and activists, sir?
I can well understand your concern that it has been used against a journalist, but it is not in the interest of the police or the law enforcement agencies to use UAPA or any law for that matter, even the Arms Act, indiscriminately. I think there is merit in what the UP police has done. There is not acquittal of Mr. Kappan. He is just out on bail, and that too after almost 2 years. Then there is no stricture passed by any court against the police investigation. Therefore, let us wait and see. Since there is no stricture against the police, since there is no adverse comment from any court, there is a matter of procedure and law. But being proactive, and as I very rightly said, I've served most of my term in the service in Western UP, and I know this area, the police will have to be proactive lest they are caught on the wrong foot.
Okay.
And I would therefore say that my advice to the police would have been that if you've taken pains to arrest Kappan, you should have also ensured proper prosecution and proper parry in the court so that he did not get the bail which he got.
Okay. But then, of course, these are stringent laws, and we have seen usually in these laws, Geeta Bhatt, the courts are quite reluctant, in fact, to give the bail. And now he has secured bail from the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, as I mentioned earlier, had also said at that point of time that reporting or, in fact, activism is not a crime as far as Mr. Kappan is concerned. I want to understand from you, and this is something which has been widely reported today. When Mr. Kappan was coming out, the jailer told him not to speak to the media, otherwise they will open old cases and put him back. Is this the way that the government of Uttar Pradesh and the current government wants to intimidate people?
Ankit, it depends on that who has given this statement. The jailer has actually threatened Mr. Kappan like this. And also I would like to bring to your notice that one also needs to remember that it was, Professor Mohapatra of Jadavpur University. He was languishing in the jail for months together just because he had shared a cartoon in which the chief minister of the state of West Bengal was being ridiculed. And it took him more than 11 years actually to, overcome all the court cases which the state had put against him. And nevertheless, there is also a journalist called Nilesh Sharma who was arrested by the Congress government-led Chhattisgarh police just because he had written a satirical article where he had not even named anyone per se.
Right.
So we have such, these kind of examples are also there.
No,
And
you're
then
very right,
coming
ma'am.
to Mr.
You are
coming to
absolutely
Mr.
right.
Kappan.
So basically what you are saying only strengthens
No,
the case
I'm
as far as
saying-
Mr. Kappan is concerned.
Now
That
in this
governments,
case,
despite
there are-
of all hue and
Ajit,
colours,
just give me a
have
minute.
used these laws to try and stifle the voices of those who are critical of them.
See, he has not been acquitted yet, Ankit. The cases are still going on. It is only over a period of time we will come to know what the truth is. The cases are still, there in the court against Mr. Kappan.
But ma'am, that's a
And also
convenient argument to make
the
sure
point
that
is
somebody
that-
languishes in the jail, like the cases that you have also said. People languish in the
You
jails
see,
for a long
he was,
time
before
before they
earlier
got
also
that
the
relief, and that's
newspaper for which he was working.
the specific
Tejas paper,
specific argument that I'm
it has
making.
been-
That's
no,
the
Ankit,
specific
give me
argument
just a
I'm
minute at
making.
least to complete.
Go ahead, ma'am.
You also need to look at the fact that he was working for a newspaper called Tejas, whatever way it is pronounced. And this newspaper, there are charges against it that it was actually a mouthpiece of the PFI. Not only that, this paper was closed down in 2018 after the Kerala High Court had constituted an independent committee to look into it, and there were charges that it was basically doing a coverage which was causing religious discord.
Okay.
And
So you are saying while you give other examples, but you are saying that this is a different case. I mean, there seems to be some water as far as these allegations are concerned. But Mr. Sharad Pradhan, I want to come to you. Siddique Kappan, when he came out, he said, "I don't know who benefits from me being incarcerated for such a long time, sir." You are in Uttar Pradesh. He was, in fact, arrested by the Uttar Pradesh police. And many things have been written about it. A lot of people said that this was possibly done as an attempt to divert the attention from the public outcry caused by the incident and float a conspiracy theory with communal overtones. Is that what you also think?
And which was absolutely bunk, because everybody has seen how, this is a rare case where a journalist has been picked up even before he reaches a place where he is suspected to be causing a riot. This is an apprehension of breach of peace. I have not heard of any such case, any similar case. This has been done essentially because his name happens to be Siddique Kappan. If his name was something else, if his name was Sharad Pradhan, probably he would not have been treated in this manner as the police did. And it is very evident. I am quite surprised at what Mr. Vikram Singh said, because the Vikram Singh that I have seen is normally more fair in his assessment, and he normally knows how the police works. And in this case, the manner in which they have hounded him, I am saying hounding, because the moment he got the bail from the Supreme Court, you know how the PMLA was initiated against him.
Right.
This was slapped on him. And you know what is the money that he had received in his account was only his salary of 45,000 rupees. Now there are rogues in this country who are minting money out of getting foreign funding for doing all kinds of rackets. We know of people who got millions in this manner. Nothing happens to them. And this manner, and I'm also aware that why his bail was denied, because the government was ensured that he doesn't get bail.
Right.
And how? Lingering on in the name of verification of the sureties,
right,
which has never happened. I am told by the lawyer, by the senior advocate of the High Court, I.B. Singh and Ishan Baghel, who fought this case in the High Court.
Okay.
And they told me consistently that this is being deliberately delayed, and in the name of verification, and verification was taking so much time.
Okay.
Interestingly, today the Supreme Court has, in another case, ordered that if there's inordinate delay in verification, the accused should be released on the bail, should be executed immediately, and you can do the verification later.
All right.
I'm glad that the Supreme Court has done this.
Somebody is taking cognizance of...
UP is a place where the police decides what to do depending on various factors. Objective action is become a rarity.
I will get a response from Mr. Vikram Singh on that. But Mr. Sanjay, I want you to come in, on a fact that stringent laws like UAPA, National Security Act and others, they make it very, very difficult for anybody to secure bail as far as these cases are concerned. That's the precedence. But by orally asking how raising one's voice in support of justice for a victim would amount to a crime, and wondering why a person's planning to foment communal violence would use pamphlets in English written for a protest in another country. The Supreme Court bench, with under former Justice Chief Justice U. Lalit, the bench proved that this. Should we now think that the bench somewhere indicated that the case is on shaky foundations?
Well, Justice Lalit has been both a prosecutor and a defense counsel. He has famously appeared for even the Home Minister when the Home Minister was accused. So if he asks a question, then you can be sure that any person with knowledge of criminal law will also ask that same question. But be that as it may, the fact is that when you use UAPA or preventive detention in laws to detain journalists, what you're essentially doing is telling all the journalists in the area that, look, if you speak out, if you write out, or even if you threaten to write out, then
absolutely,
then you can. There is nobody who can protect you. The UP police will be very kind enough to only arrest you. Otherwise, they are also capable of taking you on a vehicle which overturns.
Mr. Vikram Singh, too many questions and apprehensions has been raised as far as the working of the Uttar Pradesh police is concerned. Both Mr. Sharad Pradhan and Mr. Sanjay Hegde have questioned the way, in fact, the UP police works. But as senior police officer, is it not true, sir, when you see it in the way this entire case has progressed? First, UP police arrests him. Then, of course, more cases are added when there is a lot of hue and cry. It just seems that the entire attempt was to make sure that the case is made. And by the comments that the Supreme Court made, don't you also think there is some sort of a, at least re-strategizing, rethinking required as far as senior police officers are concerned before they put such cases?
Mr. Ankit Tyagi, let us not presume for a moment that the police is the sky and there is nobody above them. The police work in an ecosystem of a legal framework accountable to the rule of law, their own hierarchy and the government. Therefore, it cannot be a free-for-all. Yes, the name had been Vikram Singh or Mr. Pradhan, and with the greatest of respect to Mr. Sharad Pradhanji, name is not material. We are accountable to the rule of law. If the evidence is there, make no mistake about it. The police and the law is unsparing. And this is the theory which I have practiced for 36 years, Mr. Pradhan, and you know it. Had there been a small transgression of the rule of law, Mr. Pradhan, the law and the judicial system and the journalists would have torn me into shreds. But like Caesar's wife, one has to be above board, and that includes implementing the rule of law. It is not in the interest of the police. I don't belong to any political party. And then to say that had he not been Kappan, had he been Mr. Shatral, had he been Vikram Singh, Ankit Tyagi. But if you have transgressed the rule of law, whatever be the name, there will be consequences.
But
and there are consequences, whether a journalist...
There is also a fact, sir.
Ankit, can I just come in for a second?
Quickly, sir.
Can I just come in for a second, Ankit?
Quickly, sir. Quickly.
No, all I want to tell Mr. Vikram Singh, what he's saying sounds very good in theory. But he knows, I'm sure he's aware, that in reality that is not the case in Uttar Pradesh.
And there have been multiple, it's not that there haven't been cases where the police or the police officers have been hauled up or even have faced serious, in fact, charges for, in fact, fabricating false cases. But Mr. Pathania, in the end, is this how a state would react to criticism? Because that's the big question. Why being so thin-skinned if somebody, in fact, raises questions or is critical of the state to, in fact, make sure that not only them but their family suffers?
Mr. Ankit, with due respect to Mr. Hegde and Mr. Pradhan, at least this should not have been the train of the arguments. By giving it just a blanket statement, just a euphemism. You are a responsible people. Don't make a blanket statement. Please don't make a blanket statement. And your law also worsens the system. It's another pimple over the ulcer. Don't give us a blanket. The name. You are a very responsible man, and you are saying that police acts with name. Very, very unfortunate.
Okay.
And you are casting a blanket ban Uttar Pradesh Sarkar. My point remains. I don't want to go against the wave and the tide. If the police has acted in a way, the way it is being accused of, then it's really a matter of concern. No support for the police. But if it is a case, that there is a genuine case.
Actually, that's the bottom line.
There is a charge sheet.
That's the bottom line. Even if there is some political interference, police should understand that in the end, if there is going to be some problem, if you are going to be hauled up, then as Mr. Pathania said, then we are not going to defend the police. It's the police officers those who will have to bear the brunt of
No,
that. But I'm completely
in
out
this
of time.
case, the district magistrate moved heaven and earth.
I'm completely out of time. I will have to close this discussion. The fact remains, you are right, Mr. Pathania, that there is a legal process which is still going on. He has not been acquitted. But the big question is, in the process, is that entire procedure is being made into punishment just to stifle critical voices? And that's the important question that all of us need to think about. Thank you so much for being with us, gentlemen and ladies, for joining us on the discussion. That's all the time that we have on Left, Right and Centre. News and updates continue on NDTV.